Mr. Speaker, we all recognize that the Senate of the University of Alberta is independent in its decisions to grant honorary degrees, but I would like to know if the government would join with the official opposition and a growing number of Albertans in expressing concern about the honour being granted to Dr. David Suzuki, who says that human beings are an invasive species, that immigration is disgusting and crazy and should be stopped, who says the oil sands are the moral equivalent of slavery, who says that economics is the product of brain damage, and who says that Alberta's major employer should be shut down immediately. Does the government share my concern about the honorary doctorate being granted to such an individual?
Of course, I share concerns about some of the statements that Mr. Suzuki has made in the past. However, I am also very deeply concerned about freedom of speech on campuses, something that the members opposite have expressed as a priority in their upcoming policy platform. Yep. I'd ask the member opposite to explain to the House why freedom of speech should be extended only to anti-abortion activist groups and the likes of Jordan Peterson.
Well, Mr. Speaker, freedom of speech and David Suzuki don't normally fit into the same sentence because he usually charges $50,000 for a speech, Mr. Speaker. That's anything but free. And the same David Suzuki, who the minister is now defending, has called, Mr. Speaker, for his political opponents to be imprisoned. He said that former Prime Minister Harper should be thrown in jail because he didn't agree with Mr. Suzuki on shutting down Canada's energy industry. So I'll ask the government, do they agree with the decision of the University of Alberta Senate in this respect? Mr. Suzuki is free to say anything he wants, anywhere he wants. It's not about speech. It's about giving him the honorary degree.
The leader of the opposition is in an uncomfortable position because he wants it both ways. He wants to be a champion of free speech, and yet he doesn't want somebody like David Suzuki to receive an honorary degree from the University of Alberta. Mr. Speaker, our position is quite consistent. We are champions of freedom of speech. We are also champions of academic integrity, and that's why, regardless of what our opinions of David Suzuki are, we're going to allow the university, we have no say in what the university is going to do, and we're defending the right of the University of Alberta to continue.
Mr. Speaker, this is not a complicated question. It has nothing to do with speech. Nobody is seeking to inhibit Mr. Suzuki's speech. What we're seeking to do is question the wisdom. What we're seeking to do, I'm sorry, they're certainly not circumscribed in their heckling, Mr. Speaker. What we're seeking to do is to question the wisdom of granting a high honor to a man who says that immigration is disgusting and crazy and should be stopped, who wants his political opponents thrown in jail, who says our oil sands are like slavery and economics is like brain damage. Why can't the minister just stand up and say, we completely disagree with David Suzuki and he shouldn't get this?
Of course, I have said already that I wouldn't necessarily be the first to give Mr. Suzuki an honorary degree. The decision is not mine to make, though. The decision is the University of Alberta's to make. And it's very concerning to me that somebody who is applying for the job of Premier of Alberta is threatening, intimidating, and harassing an independent institution into reversing a decision that is well within its purview to make.